After days of horrific traffic congestion and hours on the road by Lagosians, the federal government has opened the Independence Bridge, and tonight we shall be speaking with the Minister of Works, Mr. Dave Umahi. And the Supreme Court has ruled on the leadership crisis rocking the Labour Party, insisting that issues of leadership is entirely the internal affairs of the party, and court has no jurisdiction to rule on it. Hello everyone, welcome to the program. This is Politics Today, live on Channels Television. I am Sean Okemale here in Abuja. Let's begin by letting you know that the Supreme Court is giving his word, similar to what you have heard before, in ruling on the internal leadership crisis of the political party. And today, the Supreme Court has set aside the judgment of the Court of Appeal in which the court recognized Julius Abure as the national chairman of the Labour Party. A five-member panel of the Supreme Court unanimously held that the Court of Appeal lacked jurisdiction to have affirmed Abure as chairman of the Labour Party, since the substance of the case was about the party's leadership. It held that the issue of leadership was an internal affair of the party, of which court lacked jurisdiction. The court upheld the appeal filed against the judgment by Nadadi Usman, who was appointed the caretaker chairperson of the party in September of 2024, and one other, the chairperson of the Labour Party caretaker committee, Senator Nadadi Usman, has been speaking about the judgment, has hailed the Supreme Court for setting aside the judgment of the Court of Appeal in Abuja, recognizing Julius Abure as the national chairman of the party. In a statement, Ms. Nadadi Usman described the Apex Court ruling as a victory for the rule of law and a significant milestone for the nation's democracy, where the Abure-led group of the party has been reacting to the judgment of the Supreme Court. And today, at a press conference in Abuja, the national legal advisor is speaking on behalf of the group.
The Supreme Court even actually, by their statement today, said everybody should respect party supremacy, and whatever decision the party has taken should be respected by all and sundry if you remain a member of that party. Now, what we are saying is that today nobody has recognized, no court, no INEC, no regulatory authority has recognized the so-called caretaker committee. It doesn't have any place in the constitution of the party. And the Supreme Court said today that the constitution should be the document that should guide any political party in its operations. And no caretaker committee was mentioned in the constitution. How will they come in? There is no way for them, because the party has said, respect your constitution, respect due process, respect the processes of the party, respect your congresses and conventions. That is what the Supreme Court has said.
Interesting scenario playing out. It does look, maybe there will be need for an interpretation of what the Supreme Court says, because it does look like the two sides of the divide are interpreting it the manner in which they deem fit. The Minister of Works, Mr. Dave Umahi, is our guest tonight on the program. And not only are we going to be looking at the Independence Bridge in Lagos and some of the issues that have generated the horrific gridlock that Lagosians saw. Some of them said they saw hell. Some of them who traveled and were on the road for hours and upon hours. But that road has since been opened today. I'll be speaking with the Minister of Works on that matter. But now we'll be paying attention on the Bola Tinubu government infrastructure agenda. There are a lot of issues on the Lagos-Calabar Coastal Highway, the Enugu-Port Harcourt Highway, and a lot of projects that this government has embarked upon. We'll be looking at all of that tonight. But first, let's serve you with some of your political roundup stories.
The President of the Senate, Senator Godswill Akpabio, has strongly denied recent allegations by Senator Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan of a plot to assassinate her, describing her claims as false, baseless, and a dangerous attempt to incite public unrest. In a statement by the Special Advisor on Media and Publicity, Honorable Eseme Yibo, the Senate President stated that the allegations are not only completely fabricated, malicious, and reckless, but part of a long-standing pattern of unsubstantiated and inflammatory claims made by Senator Akpoti-Uduaghan, including previous accusations of sexual harassment against Senator Akpabio. According to the statement, legal actions including letters of demand seeking retraction, apologies, and compensation have been prepared and on the way to be served on both senators. Meanwhile, Justice Binta Nyako of the Federal High Court in Abuja has barred parties in the suit filed by suspended Senator Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan against the President of the Senate, Godswill Akpabio, and 3 others from granting press interviews on issues relating to the case. The judge issued the order following complaint by counsel to Akpabio, Kende Ogunwumiju. In the ruling, Justice Nyako said there shall be no press interviews by all parties and their lawyers as regard the subject matter of the case. Justice Nyako also barred parties and their lawyers from engaging in streaming of proceedings in the case on social media. In other news, the Labour Party's House of Representatives caucus has welcomed today's Supreme Court judgment that it is an elixir for LP stability and reinvention. According to the caucus, this ruling serves as a warning to leaders who play God in democracy, where the people ought to hold the ultimate authority. In a statement issued by the chairman, Labour Party caucus in the House of Representatives, Honorable Afan Victor Ogene, says the judgment will hasten to implement necessary mechanisms to restore internal peace and get the party back on track. The Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, has announced the completion of the fresh delineation of wards and polling units in Warri Federal Constituency, as mandated by the Supreme Court. During a presentation in Asaba, the Delta State capital, the Commission highlighted that additional wards have been created as a result of the delineation. The Commission urged stakeholders to review the report and submit their recommendations promptly.
We have identified communities, localities, and that translates to number of wards in Warri Federal Constituency. We have given them, and so we want them to go and study it and then come back.
The Imo State Governor, Hope Uzodinma, has sworn in Justice Theophilus Nzeuku as the new acting Chief Judge of Imo State following the removal of the former Chief Judge of Imo State, Theresa Chikeka, by the National Judicial Council, NJC, some months ago. Speaking during the swearing-in ceremony at the Government House in Owerri, the governor reiterates the commitment of his administration to ensuring the most dependable and responsible judiciary in the state. The governor also swore in Professor Bernard Ikegua and Mrs. Chioma Egu as new commissioners into the State Executive Council and charged them to contribute their own quota to the development of the state.
We are calling on you to bring dignity back to the service and bring things that will give us pride in Imo State. As you do that, the Almighty God will protect and guide you.
Lastly, the factional zonal secretary of the People's Democratic Party, PDP, South Zone, Mr. George Turner, has refuted claims by Bayelsa State Governor Doye Diri that he was planning to host the Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Mr. Yetom Wike, as part of a scheme to destabilize the state. Speaking at the news conference in Abuja, Mr. Turner dismissed the allegations as false, reckless, accusing Governor Diri of orchestrating a campaign of blackmail to discredit him and incite public animosity against his person.
These claims, which were anchored on a Facebook report that Governor Diri did not bother to verify, are entirely false and represent the highest form of rumor mongering. It is particularly regrettable to hear this from someone occupying the esteemed office of a state governor.
There you have it. You've been served with your political roundup stories. So let's begin tonight by letting you know the latest updates coming from Lagos. And those of you who have gotten some kind of shock when you got on the road about 2-3 days ago and you saw that the Independence Bridge was shut to traffic, and it's caused a lot of headache. Several hours were spent, a lot of Lagosians up into the early hours of the following day by motorists. But now the federal government has officially reopened the Independence Bridge in Lagos following emergency repair works. This comes 2 days after millions of Lagosians were locked in hours-long gridlock following the earlier closure of the bridge for planned maintenance and rehabilitation works. Following the public outcry as a result of the bridge closure, the Minister of Works, David Umahi, ordered the immediate reopening of the bridge yesterday. The Lagos State Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu had apologized to residents for the gridlock experienced due to the rehabilitation of the bridge. Today, when the bridge was reopened, the minister says the closure was prompted by a structural failure involving the approach slab of the bridge, which caved in due to a faulty design. Take a listen to him.
It's okay. I just passed it, and it's declared open for Nigerians to use. Thank you.
All right, sir.
Okay, we're here.
The moment when the bridge was opened earlier today. Let's now speak with the Minister of Works, Mr. Dave Umahi, who is live for us from Lagos. Honorable Minister, thank you so much indeed for your time tonight.
Sheil, thanks so much, and thanks to Nigerians.
Let's hear from you. This bridge was supposed to take between 2 and 3 weeks for repairs. But in just about less than 3 days, you said it has been fixed and is now okay for motorists to ply on. What kind of miracle would that be?
Well, I agree with you, it's a miracle. But when, Mr. President directed me to move to Lagos to address the concerns of Lagosians occasioned by the closure of the Independence Bridge, I did pray to God to give me extraordinary wisdom on how to go about that. And of course, being an engineer and a fellow of Nigerian Society of Engineers, we say I have something in my hand, to ask God to improve upon. So when I came in, I first of all studied, what caused the failure. I also, checked what are the possible, immediate measures that should be used and the long-term measure that will be used. And we deployed what I will call almost permanent immediate measures to be used. And that's what we did. And Sheil, you are not an engineer now, so you may not understand. If you want me to go into the technicalities of, what happened. But the good thing is that, we all worked throughout last night and we achieved the rehabilitation in less than 24 hours.
I'm imagining maybe you can explain to us better, because the confidence is needed to be able to use that road. But first and foremost, would you be apologizing to Nigerians tonight? Governor Sanwo-Olu did. A lot of Lagosians are angry that why would the government do such a thing? In fact, accusing the government of being insensitive, disorganized. Those are some of the words that are being used to describe what they have experienced in the manner in which this project has been approached. Minister, are you able to apologize to Nigerians tonight with what Lagosians experienced on that road and other roads based on the inconvenience caused by the decision to fix that road in the manner and the provision that was not made or was made for that repairs?
Actually, it appears you've not been following. Yesterday when I arrived at the scene, by 2 o'clock. I apologize to Mr. President, who feels, the pains of the people anytime, this kind of situation occurs. And I also apologize to Lagosians. I did that, and when by 10 p.m. I was still working. I, did also, apologize. And of course, today, before I opened the bridge for use, I also apologize. But the important thing is, was it necessary to close the bridge? The answer is yes, because it was an emergency situation. But the manner it was done, without the knowledge of the Minister of Work, who should have given approval, and who should have come down to Lagos and then look at alternative routes, and then look at the best, rehabilitation method to be deployed, and of course also do a lot of advocacy as we did in Tom Mainland Bridge. These were not done, so maybe because of the sudden, situation of repairs that the controller saw, and so she decided with the contractor to have the bridge closed. And so I was not aware of the closure of the bridge. I'm aware that there is ongoing project, on the entire, Eco Bridge, Marina Bridge, and Independence Bridge by Buildwell. We inherited, part of that project from the past administration. We've since improved on it, and the Eco Bridge was totally burned down. And so we have a lot of works that, been ongoing, like repairs of the bearings and so on and so forth. But if you want to know what happened to the Independence Bridge, yes, I can let you know that the approach slab, normally in every bridge, you have at the end of the bridge, you have a retaining wall, then you have approach slab. Normally that approach slab is supposed to be a retaining, a cantilever slab. But what they did was a simple supported slab. So meaning that at the beginning and the end, nothing was actually holding it. And so we also saw a cavity, which means that the sand should have, been holding that approach slab, but it didn't happen. So the moment at the other end, part of the sand gave way. So the slab just slipped in, and that is what happened. So when I met them, they were trying to, cut the slabs into pieces. So we devised another means to take out the slab. And then, of course, I also evaluated the bridge, and they discovered that we may not have, any leakage if I should fill the thing with sand. And so we had to fill with sand. We fill with stone base, and also we compacted, and they treated it with cement, and then primed it. And of course, all through the night, we got help from high-tech construction. They send their equipment, they send materials, and I remain very, very grateful to them. That's what I call partnership, in nation building. And of course, Buildwell, the contractor, very reputable company, they cooperated very well with us, and they did everything we wanted them to do. And of course, there are a lot of Nigerians that, called on us, like, Chief Elumelu, the chairman of UBA, and Dangote even offered to send plane to carry us and some engineers to Lagos. But we had booked our flight. And so we remain very grateful to them, of course, Minister of Works engineers. So the next thing is, what next is to be done? And so if I have that opportunity, I will let you know what will be done on a permanent
So Minister,
basis.
I'd like to know, so 100% the bridge is okay to ride on, to fly?
I did. I was the first to pass it, and I've gone there twice, and vehicles are there. In fact, you have a mild hold up there, because people are struggling to go through the bridge. So the bridge I've certified technically okay to be used, and I'll come back in 3 weeks to think about a more permanent solution. The permanent solution is because.
All right, because I was going to ask you, because there seems to be some contradictions. On one hand, you said that the bridge's integrity is 100%, yet you are admitting that there needs to be permanent work to be commenced in 3 weeks. So if the structure was truly safe, why was it closed abruptly? And if it wasn't, why reopen it so quickly? A lot of Nigerians will be wondering those contradictions.
where there's no contradiction here. Well, the people that constructed this bridge about 53 years back, we suspect the approach slab, would have been, leaning on sand, and it's possible those sands, had escaped. And if the abutment end, it was fixed as it should be, then that slab would have been on a cantilever and they wouldn't have caved in. And so why we need to do permanent work is because we did not do the piling work. And so all the piles, in Lagos, were done under skin friction, which means that they're being held, by the sand, holding the piles together. You couldn't meet what is called end-bearing, which by piling, you get to the rock end. That's what is called end-bearing. But in the absence of, meeting rock, so you have to, situate the piles at, using the skin friction of the sand. So over the years, there is what is called, scouring, around this, piles. There is also what is, the illegal mining of sand. So the more you remove the sand around the piles, the more it gets weaker and, unable to. So because of those deterioration, over the 50-something years. So what we need to do is to do a kind of, a retaining wall, and then, at the over, just about 11 meters from the, the retaining wall of the bridge. And so you will now do a simple one-span bridge, and then, rest the beams on the existing abutment, and that will pin down the existing abutment, and so it will help to stabilize the bridge and this approach slab. But this is for a more permanent, and a more proactive measures.
So this will be in.
But
this will be in 3 weeks' time, isn't it?
Well, it depends. That what we have done can stay for 10 years, can stay for 20 years, but we don't want to take chances. So by 3 weeks, we come down to Lagos and review the situation.
But in that 3 weeks' time, Minister, what are your plans should you want to begin construction? Because nobody wants to envisage or imagine this kind of disruption again. Have you made plans for alternative routing, or what exactly are your design for commuters to be able to have an ease of traffic?
We have come up with a common platform, for all our roads and bridges. Where a road or bridge is to be, shut down, in any state, first of all, the controller of that state have to, notify the PAM secretary, who will notify honorable minister. And then if it is something that is going to be severe, like what we witnessed a few days back, then the minister will have to come down with some engineers. And then first, there must be, a drone coverage to see all the alternative routes, to that conflict point. This is very important. And then there will be advocacy, whereby we will put out, advertisement to let people know these are the kind of things we want to do. This is the problem of this conflict point. This is the emergency works that are going to be done. And even the technical aspect of it and the method statement will all be dished out to the public. And then we will also demand, comments from the public. And so within the period that will be given for the public to be aware and to make comments and they make a modification, if any, then after that we will start. Now, like we did in Tomeland Bridge, we will not totally close that Independence Bridge. We'll be working, I've measured the width of the bridge, about 12 meters. So 6 meters is okay to take at an instance, but we need Zila Sama, they call it, the Corporation of Lagos State Government and the official, of course, and the security agencies, so that we can, manage traffic within 6 meters, which is enough, it's almost a standard carriageway. Carriageway standard is 7.3. So within 6 meters, since it's a one-way traffic, we'll be able to manage traffic so that we don't totally close that bridge. It's a very serious, outlay that leads out of the island. So it is very, very important. So this is the method we are going to deploy. Advocate is very important. Technical solution and then, of course, let the public know. And we cannot, be more intelligent than the entire people. So they may also offer us some other alternatives, which will guide us and even be better than what we have offered to
Minister,
do.
yeah, I'm worried about something. What appears to be some kind of breakdown in internal communication in your ministry, and you've sent out a warning that going forward, all directors in all of the states must now communicate to the permanent secretary and get approval from your office should any bridge in the country be closed down. But the question here is that is a worrisome or a very concerning incident within your ministry, and it shows what exactly could have gone wrong in terms of leadership within the ministry. But then would there be consequence? Because if Nigerians are going through or went through this kind of hardship, a lot of monies were lost, a lot of people were thrown into the kind of hardship that they face. Is there any consequence, or is just the normal Nigerian way a public officer does something that is out of line and if walks away freely? The Nigerian people will want to know what is the consequence of what Nigerians, millions of them, faced over the last few days in Lagos.
Well, the first and foremost is that I was very, very angry, with the controller. But the controller, as controller of Lagos State, in all fairness, has done very well, in her previous assignment. Remember, she's the one that managed the Top Mainland Bridge, together with myself. And of course, we deployed this method that I've said. It's possible that she was in shock when she saw a heavy crack on that Independence Bridge. And nobody knows if she did not close the bridge, what would have happened. It could have probably cost life. One life, cannot be compared, with whatever, sufferings we have gone through, which I've apologized over and over. So it's possible she was very sure when she saw a big crack. And remember, when a slab that is freestanding, which was not constructed by us 53 years back, when the accident will not, give you any sign. It will just happen. So I have not heard from her. I have asked her to stay away in the first place. I'm talking with the PAM secretary who is in charge of the disciplinary action, but this is first offense, committed by her. So there's no breakdown of communication with us. It's possible when I hear from her, she may be justified by closing it because it had to depend on the degree of the
Minister,
damage that she saw.
Minister,
at the time
isn't there a procedure? Because I imagine before you embark on such a heavy and such a magnitude of project in a city like Lagos and in any part of the country, a federal road as such, there should be a procedure for closure of roads, of construction of works, of people just dip hand in the public funds, do projects without due process. What is the procedure? Isn't that procedure followed?
I'm not sure you understood. If I'm passing, God forbid, at Tom Mainland Bridge now, and I see a big crack, are we, without announcing, close the bridge first? I have to save lives first. And then are we now, direct announcement to be made, vigorously for people to know, look, your life will be in danger if you follow here. I've shut down the bridge. So I want to hear from the controller, before the PAM secretary. Three of us, we have to sit to, because if she shows me a picture and, the crack had occurred and it was such that a vehicle comes on it, we now resort to accident and death, then she's justified, then she'll be free of any disciplinary action.
So, Minister, the reason why I'm asking this question is that we've lived in a Nigeria where public servants and public office holders are taking decisions, taking Nigerians for a ride and neglecting the feelings of Nigerians and the pains of the Nigerian people. And that's the reason why I'm asking the question. A lot of people want to know whether they are going to face any, if public officers know that there are consequences upon their actions following a modus operandi of a standard procedure in carrying out such a public a situation that will have a public impact. they will probably think twice about it. That's the question I'm asking. So that in the nearest future, it might be tomorrow, Nigerians have confidence that there are consequences.
Cheryl, rely on my explanation. You're asking me a scientific question. I've told you that, you know, we need to listen to the controller. If she came or people called her and then, you know, she saw a big crack that would have resulted in that, and she closed the bridge, then she's justified. Let me tell you something. There are 3 kinds of procurement that the Procurement Act allows, but there is the 4th one, and it's called emergency procurement. If I want to award a job now, and you know, I want to design a bridge or do a road, I have to pass it through BPP. But if I am going on Tom Mainland Bridge and I see that there is a crack that will result to accident, I may not refer to BPP. I will immediately get any contractor that is competent and is very close to the scene to begin rehabilitation. We call it emergency rehabilitation. And while that is doing, you know, I will now notify BPP and submit all the documents for them for ratification. So when there is an emergency situation, it just like, you know, the altercation in the past between, you know, victims of gunshot and the police. You say go and get, doctors. You say go and get police, report. A man that is at the verge of dying should go and look for police report. So this is an emergency situation. There's no disconnect. Ministry of Works, under my watch, they are very highly disciplined and very hardworking. And this particular controller is one of our best. That's the truth. So I must hear from her, and I'll let the public know the outcome of the investigation. But my PAM secretary has to be there.
All right, thank you so much. Public accountability is very key, Minister, especially when it involves the lives and livelihood of. I'm not asking for undue punishment. I'm just asking for due process, transparency, and accountability. That's the question I'm asking, Minister. There are problems with a lot of bridges or a lot of major roads in Lagos. Bring us up to speed. Bring us up to speed with what you are doing. There was a bridge that you mentioned that was almost totally burnt down. What are the remedial and the permanent work that is going on with those bridges? The immediate and probably the nearest future work that you are envisaging?
Well, when we came on board, we inherited the Echo Bridge, Marina Bridge, Independence Bridge, all being worked by Buildwell, and so we looked at what they're doing, and we did more technical evaluation. And just last Federal Executive Council, the scope of work was increased. Because the burning down of Echo Bridge was something that's so terrible, and it's a major bridge that takes us, into and out of Ireland. And so, what the part of the very highly technical job they're doing is to re-pre-stress the slabs, and then also replace the bearings at the joint. And so you see a technical solution whereby a hose span is lifted up. They jack it up and they change the bearings. And of course, they also cut the slab at the middle, go inside the span. Sometimes what you see, the under deck and the top deck, the distance between the two is about 3 meters. So there is a hollow, there where you do the pre-stressing of that slab so that the long span will be maintained. So that is ongoing, and the Independence Bridge is part of the entire, evaluation that we did that's supposed to be done. So that work is going, and we are very confident and very happy, and it's about 80% done. We are also rehabilitating, these bridges that we've mentioned to be in the same standard with what we did on Tom Mainland Bridge. And now in the Tom Mainland Bridge, we have completed the top deck. And of course, we marked it, we put in solar light. We've also put in CCTV. Now, let me start with the CCTV. The CCTV we are putting, throughout the 11, kilometers, by 14 carriageways. And then we have also put CCTV, down, under the deck, so that anybody that is, excavating sand, within the 10-kilometer radius will be spotted. And so we have built, beside the bank of the sea there in Tom Mainland Bridge, what we call examination house. And that is what we have the Navy, the police, the army, the local security. They will all be there watching the CCTV so that anybody, God forbid, that's trying to take his life on the Tom Mainland Bridge, they will spot the place, the person, and then within 5 minutes of interval, they will be able to get hold of the person. And with this CCTV, there will be no more excavation of sand under the deck, within the around the piles. Now, what are we doing under the deck? We are also, breaking the underdeck, because some of the slab built, the bridge built over 53 years, some of them, is showing some deflection. But there's nothing to fear because we are opening the deck and then re-pre-stressing, the tendons so that it will be straightened. The one that has deflected cannot be brought back to that level, but it's not very visible because what we did on top of the deck has taken care of the differentials. But, this will further, stop, it will stop further, deflection of the slab. Now, on the piers of what you call columns, you have a lot of deteriorations in the sense that you start seeing the iron. And you know that the seawater is very corrosive, and so if you leave it, it will start to rust. And so we are working with Julius Berger in returning all those piers, and then the pier cap, which is what is the pie cap, what is holding the all the piles that are inside the water. We are also working on it because a lot of the pie caps has corroded, and even the salt water has penetrated up to 10 cm, within the thickness of the pie cap, So we are working on it, and we are seeking an international, idea on how to treat that salt water that has penetrated. Because if you allow it, it will continue to attack the rod within the pie caps, and that can lead to, massive failure. And so if we go beyond, what is seen under the deck, then we are talking about the piles. The piles are being held in the past 53 years under the skin friction. That's the method of piling, because you couldn't reach the rock, which is the end bearing. Now, over the years, they have been scouring. Over the years, there have been a lot of people doing illegal, mining of sand. And I'm happy that the Federal Executive Council has banned throughout the nation's bridges, the mining of, sand, 10-kilometer radius, from every bridge in the nation. And so now in 2009, there were investigation by diving, and they checking how this, piles, are faring. And so you will be checking if there is a rust of the pie caps, of the piles, the steel casing, if the rust has gone into the concrete itself, and then the stability of the piles. Piles being held by sharp sand. So the more you excavate the sharp sand, the more you are releasing the piles, and the more the bridge is unstable. And so it was discovered that over 30% of the piles on Tom Mainland Bridge and Carter Bridge were in a very terrible situation. And in 2013, it was, repeated, and a further deterioration, progressive deterioration was also noticed. And so when we came on board, we studied these two investigations, and then we got, Julius Berger to do an independent investigation, starting with the ones that have been investigated before, and they are doing that alongside with the projects, of restoration of whatever thing that is under the deck, both Idodo Bridge, right, Carter Bridge, and Tom Mainland Bridge. And then, so we also got another company called Secon, ISECON. ISECON is the company's name. And then they are also to do an independent investigation. And that's why, if you see now, we've closed the Tom Mainland Bridge against traffic, heavy traffic. So we don't allow big traffic to go through the Tom Mainland Bridge, because of the partial instability of the piles.
So, Minister,
but nothing
I don't know what is going on because it does look like I've not heard so much of progress, but about the fourth mainland bridge. That is a Lagos government project, but I don't know how much of intervention or cooperation or synergy between the Lagos government and the federal government. The fourth mainland bridge is supposed to traverse 5 LGAs in Lagos, and it's supposed to have come from the Lagos, from the Lagoon side through to Itamaga in Ikorodu, and it was supposed to be across Bayeku in Ikorodu, Bayeku area. And it was supposed to be a fantastic idea to ease congestion. Just imagine across the river from the Ikorodu area, the kind of traffic that goes, that would have naturally gone through the third mainland bridge. Are you in talks with Lagos government? Because inflation also affected that project. Do you have an idea of the progress of that work? Because that would have also eased the pain that you are presently experiencing on the third mainland bridge and the pressure.
Well, I cannot say exactly what the position. The last time I heard, by the side, I think they are working with CCCC over that project. But we have, the 7th Axia Road that we are doing procurement right now, and the project is taken off by the Dangote refinery at the deep sea port, and is going down Tepe, and from there it takes you to Lagos, Shagamu or Benin, Asaba, expressway, and so that is an evacuation corridor. And that is very, very important. We also have the Dangote, tax credit, which is coming off from the Lekki Deep Sea Port, and it's also taking us, through the Eleko Junction, straight to Ekpe, and then from there it takes us to the Lagos Shagamu. It's also an evacuation corridor, and the big one is the Lagos Calabar Coastal Highway, which is also, taking us. Through the Lekki Deep Sea Port, and of course starting from Ahmad Bello Way and all the way to Calabar. So these are all evacuation corridor, both for the Tinkan, port, the Apapa port, and the Deep Sea Port in Lekki Peninsula. So this is what I can say about those connections and the evacuation corridor for goods and services.
Let's take a breather, Minister. But when we come back, I'd like to know the progress of work on the Lagos Calabar Super Highway, the Coastal Highway, and what exactly Nigerians should expect, plus some other projects that you have taken on, the Enugu-Port Harcourt Highway, and some of the Southeast Road, which some of residents and citizens around that corridor say work has stopped, and I will be giving you specifics on that. That will be after this break, everyone. Join us again. Thanks so much, everyone, for staying with us. The Minister of Works, Mr. Dave Umahi, has been speaking with us on the program tonight. Honorable Minister, thank you so much indeed for your time. Let me ask you, what is the update of work? How far have you gone with the Lagos-Calabar Coastal Highway?
Yes, Lagos-Calabar Coastal Highway, Section 1 is 47.47 kilometers, and starting from Bello Way, and ends at Eleko Junction. Section 2 is 55 kilometers, and then it starts with Eleko Junction, and is ending at the Lagos-Ogun border. Now, progress of work. Now, let me say that we have 3 and 3B, which is 65 kilometers, and all these kilometers is multiplied by 2 carriageway, 3 lanes each, and of course drainage, train track at the middle, and caps and cable ducts. All these are the architectures of this, and of course solar, light and the CCTV. Now, on the Section 1. I was on the project yesterday, and today I was on the project. So I said to myself, if the street of, this road can be this fantastic and beautiful, I wonder how the street of heaven will look like. That will show you how satisfied I am, for the beginning of Section 1, as at today, about 15 kilometers by 2 carriageway on the average has been achieved. And at the end of the project at Eleko, where Section 1 stopped, about 5 kilometers has been achieved. So the idea is by 25th of May, 30 kilometers continuously will be made available for Mr. President to commission, from beginning of Section 1, down to kilometer 0 to kilometer 20. And then we are jumping, about 17 kilometers because of a settlement. We have very high filling, within that section, and then we are jumping it, and then we also get another 10 kilometers. Today, 5 kilometers of that 10 kilometers from the end coming back to, Chene Zero has been achieved. And in Section 2...
Yes, Minister, let's talk about the phase 1 that you talked about. In the phase 1, where can it take you to? It take you from Victoria Island in Lagos to where?
Down to Lekki, deep sea port, Eleko, and it is the intersection between the Dangote, tax credit project, and this coastal highway. So it is exactly stopping at, Lekki deep sea port.
That's where you mentioned that between 5 and 10 years, that road will be towed. With what we have achieved now, will you begin the tolling now? Or is until when all of the project has been completed and delivered?
No. I'll be recommending for the approval of Mr. President that Section 1, which will be completely, fully completed, before the end of, this year. And that would be a record time because it was awarded for 36 months of construction. But, it is, I think we just done 1 year. And so it will be half of the number of years earmarked for it. And that is good for government because we'll be cutting down on inflation and so on and so forth. So when that is completed, I will be recommending for immediate, tolling engagement. Yes.
Now, there are still a lot of people who feel very aggrieved about the choice of that project, the amount that is being spent, the funding of that project. And I understand globally, every government wants a legacy project. No matter what the outcome may be, they want to have a project that will be a signature for them.
It's an investment.
Yeah, but the question
is... No, it's an investment project. Yeah. It's not a legacy. The president is not looking for legacy things, He's transformative, achievement are enough legacies. I don't think he's looking for legacy. It's an investment. I've always said that project is not just a road project. It's an investment. And,
have you been able to?
You can ask me.
Have you been able to do a deep assessment of the economic benefits?
The return on investment.
Absolutely. What would they amount to?
I will not give you figures, but I will give you the templates. First of all, we are entitled as a nation for carbon credits by the use of concrete. The emission is very low, and the nation is entitled by the climate change, policy for carbon credit. The use of solar light, we are entitled to carbon credit. Now, this road is an evacuation corridor because the Tinkan Island and the Papa, the depth, for big shaft, of ships, they're quite shallow. And so that's why you see a lot of shipment being done. So ship coming into these two ports, they park, they just anchor at a very, a place where the draft is, will be accommodated by the depth of the sea. And so, and then there's transshipment. Now, the deep sea port and with this road, it becomes a thing of the past. So all the dollars that's being spent in doing this transshipment will be earned by government. Now the tolling, I've said that the tolling return on investment is going to be highest, 10 years. Don't forget that we also have a train track starting from Jakande Estate and running down, of course, down to Calabar. But there's also the train, when established, it's also going to be, a plus because it will carry a lot of the goods. And then we also lighten the problems of our roads. So this is also, one of them. Now we have a lot of land we've acquired, within the, that's where you have the real investment, on tourism. You have, a lot of housing estate. You have a lot of factories, industries that are going to be built along this, corridor. So all these things, they are part of the templates for return on investment. So it's not just a road construction, it's an investment.
All right, Minister,
and,
quickly.
It is. Yes.
Yeah. I'm hoping that you must have by now be able to pay off everyone that has been whose business have been impacted on that route.
Yes,
have you done that? 100%.
We have. Yes, we have.
Okay, let me quickly take you
Sunday,
up on.
Sunday we are doing public engagement by 1 p.m. Again, we are opening section 2. For people to come and listen to us, we let them know the properties that are, being cumbered, and then how much, they are going to be paid. So that will be 1 p.m. And of course, the environmental impact assessment is all going to be discussed. We've held several meetings on that because there are a lot of conflict, because that section 2 is where you have the Dangote refinery, the deep sea port, blue chips companies, industries, and the fertilizer company, and a lot of other, You see, our train is also going to be crossing the train that is coming from the seaport, and of course, you see the 7 taxi road is also going to be coming from there. So there are a lot of conflicts, and we have been studying, how to resolve the conflicts. Yes,
Minister. I will take you. I have 3 questions and I have 3 minutes, so it's going to be 60 seconds for each question, Minister. I'm going to take going to take you back home. In Abia State, you are from the southeast, and of course, a lot of people from your region will be saying, "Oh, our son is a minister of works. Perhaps some benefits that some major project will come from your ministry to them." One of which is causing a lot of trouble is that. Ikwanu Ikot Ekpene Road in Abia State. That road has been constructed by Heartland, and for a lot of years, that road under Buhari government, it was actually given out, but that has been long abandoned. What is the status of that? Are you beginning work on it? Are you taking it up?
Yeah, but let me tell you something, I'm not the president of the country, so I don't have that opportunity to give undue advantage to my zone in terms of projects. No, I can't do that. You can't even do that with President Tinubu. You can't do that, if you are a smart minister. You have to be equitable. Because you are an appointed person. So you have to be equitable. And that's what we do here. And I want to also let you know that before now, we didn't have a federal project, so to say, that we're ongoing in the Southeast. But we have a lot of federal projects ongoing in Southeast. This Ikwano Ikotekbene, the coastal highway is crossing that route. Is crossing that route, at Akwa Ibom. And the project is being reviewed under President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. And that is now, ongoing as it should be. I agree that funding may be an issue because it's under an NPC, tax credit. And of course, all an NPC tax credit are going to, be getting the attention of Mr. President for them to be taken over by Renewed Hope infrastructure funding, because there is a targeted amount whereby an NPC were put into those projects. None of those funds, for an NPC, the funds were not meant to complete the project. So the project is being reviewed and it's ongoing. You also have the Aba Ikotepene, it's also being reviewed and it's ongoing. The only thing is that our policy is that where we have dualization, we should concentrate on one carriageway and finish it for Nigerians to use it. And that is what is going on in these 2 locations. And of course, if you want to know, I will also tell you other projects of federal government that have been resuscitated, in Southeast that are ongoing.
We're totally out of time, Minister. The Enugu-Port Harcourt is a very important road. There are patches that have been done.
Yes, the Enugu-Port Harcourt has 4 sections. 2 have been, 1 is being completed. Cetraco is completed. Then you have a 61 kilometer that is running from Lokpanta in Imo State down to Enugu. 1 carriageway, as we talk, is being fully completed. The 2 fair bridges at Enugu within that route at Artisan, is being completed and ready for commissioning. And then you get to Umahi to Aba. done by Arab contractors. We have about 3 kilometers to be fully completed and commissioned. And then you have 43 kilometers going from Aba to Port Harcourt. About 70% of that is being completed, all under President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. So,
Minister, we need to go now, but I almost forgot to ask you this about the Lagos Calabar Coastal Highway. President Obasanjo said that is wasteful and corrupt. And it does look like it was speaking the mind of a lot of Nigerians who disapprove of that project. How would you react to that?
Well, I have, reacted enough to that, but let me announce that, President had, even before that statement, directed that we should, reconstruct the Lagos Otabiokute, project, and the work is ongoing. And, that is the hometown of my father, the former President Obasanjo. And I've said, look, the President Bola Ahmed Tinubu never recommended any contractor to me, never sent any contractor to me, never interfered, in terms of the costing. I've run the costing, here in Lagos and in Abuja, the cost of this project. And, in all sense of humility and the responsibility, the projects are very, 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 very cheap compared to even some other inherited projects.
Minister.
So, and I've said that, my father should know that he has always praised me when I was in Bonyi for transparency, commitment, and, good work. So he cannot say otherwise of me right now.
All right. Minister of Works, Dave Umahi, thank you so much indeed for your time tonight. I appreciate your reaction to some of these issues. Thank you so much indeed. But that's our show for tonight. Everyone, many thanks for watching. I'm Sean Akimale. God bless Nigeria.